Hi, I'm Barbara Olendzki. Thank you so much for joining us for this Know Your Meds continuation of the webinar series. Tonight, we're going to talk about HDL cholesterol. My expertise on the subject is that I am a research and clinical dietitian employed by actually a few different places, but mostly at University of Massachusetts, where I'm also the director of the Center for Applied Nutrition. I specialize in the application of foods to disease. And so it can be HDL, but there are other parameters that you may learn in the upcoming webinars so you can improve your health to a great extent. So let's get going. HDL cholesterol, which is the good cholesterol, you can remember it, H standing for happy, and the higher, the better. So with HDL, the HDL is so important to the lipid profile. When you go to get your cholesterol checked, you have the total, you have your HDL, you have your LDL, which is the bad stuff, the triglycerides, which is the ugly. So we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then we have some other parameters. The HDL removes the bad cholesterol, the LDL, before it can build up and do damage and lead to a heart attack or stroke. So it's incredibly important. And you'll find that there are currently no medications that can address HDL. Most of the medications, the statins, are directed towards decreasing the LDL cholesterol. But there is much you can do with your diet and lifestyle. And I want to empower you to take simple steps, because every step you take is a step in the right direction. So let's see, where are you starting from? You might want to go dig out those lab results that you got from your primary care physician recently. And when it comes to HDL, the higher numbers are better. You may find that your HDL is a bit on the low side, and your physician may have noted that. On the contrary, perhaps you have an excellent HDL, it's above 60, and in which case we really want to jump on it. So physicians don't tend to focus on HDL much other than to note it. But you are going to see in the coming slides that there is an awful lot you can do and take responsibility for and improve your HDL. So what are you born with? There's a strong genetic foundation to HDL. It could be that your HDL is really low. It doesn't mean that we can't change it, but it takes a little bit more of an intensive effort if you have those type of genetics. If your HDL is above 50, you are going to be highly sensitive to these lifestyle and dietary changes. It should be a focus of what you do. It's your strong suit. And too often in life and in health, we focus on our weaknesses and not on our strengths. Foods that increase HDL are fish. And is it the fat in the fish? Well, we do see that the omega-3 fatty acids can have a separate wonderful effect on HDL, but we also see that people who simply have fish a few times a week, whether it's fatty or not, are going to make a huge difference with their HDL. I remember one fellow who started eating sardines as a snack every afternoon. His HDL had been in the very low category, and he was able to make significant rise in his HDL with the sardines. Now, I don't much like sardines, and so I look to other kinds of things that I can integrate within my diet and customize to the diets of the patients that I see. It could be that you want to get your good fats from avocados or from natural nut butters or seeds. The dark leafy greens should be on a daily basis, not only because of the assistance that they give for HDL, but because of the nutrients they contain that are incredibly healthy for your overall cardiovascular picture. The fruits with dark skins have particular antioxidants that have an effect on increasing HDL. And this is where a glass of wine a day can really be of benefit if it's the red wine and it's not sweet, because sweets have a detrimental effect on HDL, like a blanket covering. When it comes to metabolism, if you eat white bread or refined carbohydrates, we see that this has a squashing effect on HDL. So we can't see your genetics until we remove these foods and replace them with high fiber foods. Beans and legumes are excellent because they have not only the fiber, but monounsaturated fats that HDL thrives on. Flaxseed, which should be ground for best absorption, and chia seed are two examples of fiber that you can add to your daily bread and other foods to help your metabolism. So when it comes to diet and lifestyle changes, we want to reduce or eliminate any refined carbohydrates. And these are usually the ones that come in a box or a bag. They've been processed, the fiber has been removed, and we have ended up with a carbohydrate that turns quickly to sugar. Potatoes and rice can be of equal problematic concern. They turn quickly to sugar and should be limited, or you can add those types, ground flaxseed or the chia, to your foods in order to increase their health benefits. All simple sugars are going to depress HDL. We also see that if you have a history of diabetes or even a family history of diabetes, whether or not you have it yourself, that your HDL can be quite low. Managing diabetes and blood sugars is a very important component of helping your lipid profile. If you have high triglycerides, you want to keep your alcohol in moderation or not at all when it comes to raising HDL cholesterol. If you don't have high triglycerides, then you might want to include that daily glass of red wine in the quantity of 4 to 6 ounces, which is moderation. And that can help your HDL cholesterol rise. Body weight and smoking also can impact HDL cholesterol. So we want to increase the overall fiber in the diet at 30 grams or more per day. And you can substitute the high fiber breads and the high fiber pasta and cereal for the ones you might be currently consuming. Exercise is a longer term, lifelong, very important component of acting on raising HDL cholesterol. And so here's a diet, and I encourage you to look at your library of webinars and you'll find one on LDL. We are following our patient through their journey of cardiovascular disease and an aberrant lipid profile. This is how we change the diet, and some examples are here. We're starting the breakfast with a high fiber cereal, ending dinner with baked salmon and vegetables throughout the day, including for snacks, can be of great benefit. Check out the fruits that are consumed by our patients here. We've got blackberries and raspberries. We've got apples and plums, and that satisfies those dark-skinned fruit that can be of great benefit for HDL cholesterol. So a good HDL raising diet is focused on high fiber, low refined or processed carbohydrates, low starch, beneficial fats. The HDL loves the good fats, and it thrives on those fats from fish, avocados, nuts and seeds, and actually it also thrives on saturated fat, but you don't want to go for that because that will also increase your bad cholesterol. Whole food is your best choice. And I know it means you may need to learn some skills in the kitchen or specify when you're out to eat the kinds of foods that you would like to purchase. So when it comes to exercise, sitting is bad. What I am doing right now, you should not be doing at home. And sometimes, and certainly within the pandemic, we have come to be a lot less active than before. Every step you take is critically a step in the right direction for your HDL cholesterol. For this, you might want to use what I call intrinsic motivational interviewing. It's a technique where you recognize and accept that there are things that you don't like about exercise. What do you like about exercise? Which exercise would have you going consistently most days of the week? Is it sport? Or is it walking with a friend? Is it joining a group? Is it videos on the TV? You can choose. There's unlimited options. We just want to start you somewhere And studies have shown that increasing your heart rate for 10 minutes per day can result in significant changes to your health parameters. Whenever you hit a plateau, whether it's with weight loss or circulatory or to address stress, what we do is provide an exercise prescription that changes which exercise you're doing, when you're doing it, and how often or intensively you're doing it. These can all make a big difference when it comes to your health. The Mayo Clinic approach tells us that a combination of aerobic exercise and weight training, or you can see the people working with resistance bands, can help to decrease the sugar in your blood. So it can help with diabetic control, because increasing your muscles removes the glucose in the bloodstream because the muscles take it up for energy. So it's important to build muscle as well as reduce fat when it comes to exercise. They both help the metabolic syndrome, which is a combination of low HDL, high triglycerides, and diabetes. So here's our case study. And we saw her in earlier webinar on LDL. She has 3 kids, one of whom is probably out creating a lot of trouble. She's sitting there doing her work and has a cat in the background. She skips breakfast because she's trying to lose weight. Her lunch is replaced with coffee and lots of sugar to keep up with the kids and her work demands. She has a quiche, which is full of vegetables and cheese and salad. Okay, we build on her strong suits with regards to the vegetables. She likes vegetables. She just doesn't take a lot of time to prepare them. She follows that with sugary sweets in the evening because that is her cravings talking. We can cover that in future webinars. She is drinking alcohol for stress reduction, for relaxation, and because she likes the taste. And she doesn't have any formal exercise. Her HDL is quite low at 41. For women, we especially find it necessary to have their HDL at least above 50. Above 60 is even better. For men, it can be harder to reach that 60 level. So we settle for 50 instead, or whatever they can reach. Reach your potential. So what does our patient do? Well, she starts eating fish. That appears to be easy for she and her family to do. They don't have to have it pre-prepared. They can do it themselves quickly on the grill or in the microwave. She has raised her HDL cholesterol quite nicely, because every point increase in HDL cholesterol is a 3% decrease in your risk of heart disease and stroke. She's increased it by 10 points. That's huge. There's no medication that'll give you that kind of result. And how did she do it? She did it by adding foods to the diet. She was able to lose weight. It's very interesting when it comes to adding foods, that it's not all about calories. When it comes to the lipid profile, we want to cater to your genetics. And if nutrients are missing, your body goes into a very different mode that's often unhealthy. She has increased the fiber in her diet with whole grains and added ground flaxseed. She's also adding some of this fiber to her fruit smoothie in the morning. She didn't cut alcohol completely out, but she cut back on the amount. And she began exercising. She and the kids decided to engage in a lot of different activities. For her, this is what works. It wasn't one single thing, but a variety of things that she could choose from throughout the week that worked in her busy family schedule. So remember these points. HDL is incredibly powerful. It may be your strong suit, in which case you want to jump on it. If it's your weakness, don't give up hope. Every point matters. And increasing your low HDL, if that's the case, can take time. It may not show up in 3 months like our patient did. It might show up in 6 months. Stick to it. Keep going. Be patient. Go through those suggestions of problem solving. the mental exercise that leads to an increase in action. Remember, the super bad fat is the hydrogenated oils that increase the bad cholesterol, the LDL, and decrease HDL cholesterol. Get rid of the sugars in your diet, decrease at least, and increase the fiber. And exercise, which is good for all of us for so many different reasons, but it may not show up in your HDL for 4 to 6 months. So a daily consumption of good fats, vegetables, fruits, and fiber in your diet can make a huge difference, not only to your HDL, but you'll find it in how you feel and in your energy. You may consider taking fish oil supplements. You want to keep those refrigerated and take them after a meal in the evening for best absorption. And over time, those can impact your HDL. Moderate exercise. Remember, the goal is 30 minutes. Start with 10 if that's what you can fit consistently in your life. Start wherever you can, and then you can build from there. Dropping sugars, increasing the good fats in the diet shows up sooner than exercise. Do all of these things, and I can assure you, you will have benefit. I want to thank you so much for attending this webinar, and it will be available on your app. We also want to encourage you to send us questions. We really do want to help. The whole company, the team of people who are behind Know Your Meds are good people who are predominantly interested in making a difference in the world through improving the health of its population. You can submit your questions to me through Nutritionist Connect at knowyourmeds.com. We also have Nimit, who is an excellent pharmacist, and you can submit your pharmacy questions through that. Use your app, let us know how we can improve, and be sure to attend future webinars. Thank you so much.